I want you to just take a second and picture your absolute dream, early retirement.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you are probably envisioning yourself sipping I don't know, a perfectly chilled cocktail on a sun-drenched beach somewhere.
Right.
Like, you can practically smell the sunscreen, right?
Right.
There are no alarm clocks, no rush hour commute, just this endless, unbroken relaxation.
The dream.
Exactly. It is the ultimate Instagram-perfect illusion. But today's deep dive is, well, it's going to take that pristine mental image and completely shatter it.
Which, honestly, might just be the most helpful thing we could possibly do for anyone who is actually planning to step off that corporate treadmill.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we spend decades, like, obsessively preparing for the financial mechanics of retirement.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we calculate withdrawal rates, we stress test our 401ks, we debate tax brackets, but we spend almost zero time mentally preparing for the total deconstruction of our daily lives.
Right, the psychological frameworks just completely change.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's unpack this, because our mission today is to look at the actual reality behind the math.
Yeah.
We have this remarkably candid first-hand account from the creator behind the YouTube channel, Retire with Zero.
Which is such a fascinating channel.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this is someone who actually did the thing, you know, he pulled the ripcord and retired around age 50.
Right.
And he even tried the cliche move first. He moved down to the Virgin Islands thinking it was just going to be a paradise.
Naturally.
But, spoiler alert, ended up leaving because the whole geographical arbitrage thing was basically a trap.
Oh, completely.
It was just way too expensive and ultimately not worth the isolation. So he pivots.
Right, he makes a huge change.
Yeah. He eventually settles on a sprawling 35-acre mountain property in Spain for half the year. And then he spends his winters back in the U.S.
And, you know, it serves as this amazing psychological case study because he actually achieved the financial finish line, but he is offering us a really honest look at the day-to-day reality of that dream. And it is not all hammocks and margaritas.
Not at all. And it is so incredibly refreshing to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
Because usually retirement content is just endless financial optimization.
Oh, totally. Just spreadsheets.
Right. But today, we are exploring the severe mental and social realities he faced, the things that, in his own words, almost blew up his early retirement.
Wow.
And it starts with this sudden, jarring shift in his entire social universe.
Yeah, the social realignment.
Because when you retire at 50, you are instantly, like, completely out of sync with your peers.
You really are. You find yourself existing in this bizarre parallel universe.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, society's default infrastructure is entirely built around the 9-to-5 work week.
Right.
So when you step outside of that structure, especially in your peak earning years when most of your peers are just in the thick of their careers.
The whole architecture of your social life just collapses.
Exactly. It just falls apart.
He actually describes how those work friends you saw every single day, they just vanish.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we can understand the mechanics of that.
Yeah.
They're busy agonizing over quarterly presentations or, you know, attending mandated corporate happy hours.
Right. They don't have the time.
And even your weekend buddies are suddenly unavailable because Sunday is no longer a day of rest.
No, it's not.
It is dedicated to prepping for Monday morning.
And then you have to compound that baseline isolation with the physical realities of retiring early.
Right.
Because to make the math work, people often downsize or they move to a lower cost of living area.
Like Spain, in his case.
Right. He moved to a literal mountain in Spain.
Yeah.
He is 4 hours away from his wife's family, and he actively knows zero local people in his day-to-day life there.
Wow.
So you strip away the forced socialization of the office, and then you strip away your geographic roots.
It reminds me so much of graduating high school.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Right. You spend 4 years with these built-in proximity friends where your entire social life is just handed to you by, like, a bell schedule and a homeroom assignment.
Yes, exactly.
And the corporate world is just an adult bell schedule.
Totally.
Then graduation happens, or in this case, early retirement happens, and poof, those people are gone.
They're just gone.
You suddenly have to figure out how to make friends from scratch. But I have to ask, is it just inevitable that early retirees become hermits? I mean, can't you just go join a club?
Well, it requires a massive behavioral shift.
Okay.
To survive that, you have to actively, intentionally engineer new communities. You no longer have the luxury of, like, passive friendship.
Right.
And what's fascinating here is who he actually finds himself hanging out with.
Oh, yeah, this was so interesting.
Because he has all this free time, he gravitates toward the only other demographic that shares an open Tuesday afternoon.
People in their 60s and 70s,
Exactly.
which he genuinely enjoys, by the way.
Oh, for sure.
He points out that those 60-year-olds are a lot of fun, but it completely skews your perspective on the world.
It really does.
He shares this hilarious detail about his 80-year-old mother.
Oh, I love this part.
Right. She goes to the grocery store at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday, sees it packed with people, and her conclusion is simply, well, nobody works anymore.
Yes. It just highlights this severe shift in perception.
Yeah.
You only see the people who are visible when you are visible.
Right.
Like there are people out there with free schedules, remote workers, other retirees, but you have to hunt them down.
True.
Now, he does know that he is a bit of an introvert.
Yeah.
He is perfectly fine spending his day hiking his mountain in Spain or, fishing in the river right by his property.
Sounds amazing, honestly.
It does. But this raises an important warning for the extroverts listening.
Okay.
If your energy comes from interacting with a bustling society, the isolation trap will sneak up on you the literal second the neighborhood empties out at 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah. So you lose your proximity friends, you lose the bustling environment. But that isolation leads to a much deeper, more internal crisis.
Oh, definitely.
Because you don't just lose the people around you. You lose the mirror they hold up to you.
Right.
You lose your title. And that plunges us right into the what do you do track.
The identity crisis.
Yeah.
This is arguably the heaviest psychological burden of stepping away from the workforce early.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because our societal value, whether we like it or not, is deeply tied to our economic output.
Right.
When you meet someone new, what do? Is basically the ultimate shorthand for determining someone's status, their intellect, and honestly, their usefulness to the tribe.
And he talks about the actual embarrassment of answering that question in your 40s or 50s by just saying, I'm retired.
Yes.
He says people look at you like you are some sort of freak of nature.
Oh, completely.
They immediately assume you come from intense privilege or you didn't work hard or you just hit the lottery. He even admits to the temptation of lying at neighborhood parties.
That is so telling.
Isn't it? He wants to say things like, I'm on a sabbatical or I'm between things, or just default to his old job and say, I'm a realtor.
Because lying is socially smoother than dealing with the cognitive dissonance you just caused the other person.
Oh, wow.
Think about it. If you step off the treadmill early and prove that the grueling 60-hour workweek isn't strictly necessary for survival,
Right.
you make the people who are still running on that treadmill profoundly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You become a walking mirror reflecting their own daily grind back at them.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on this.
Sure.
Because I hear what you're saying about other people being uncomfortable. But isn't that just a luxury problem?
How do you mean?
Like, if I have millions in the bank and total freedom over my time, why on earth should I care if Bob at the neighborhood barbecue feels a little insecure about his 9 to 5?
Right.
Shouldn't I just be wearing a T-shirt that says, I beat capitalism, and shouting it from the rooftops?
Well, it sounds great in theory, but it ignores evolutionary psychology.
Okay.
As humans, we are hardwired with a desperate need to belong to a tribe.
Right.
For hundreds of thousands of years, being ostracized from the group meant literal death.
Oh, I see.
So even if you are sitting on a massive investment portfolio, your primitive brain still registers the social friction with Bob as a threat of exile.
Wow.
Yeah, when people look at you like an alien, it triggers deep existential distress, regardless of your net worth.
Okay, so the friction isn't just about managing Bob's feelings.
No.
It's about protecting your own internal need to not be treated like an outcast.
Exactly.
That makes the temptation to lie about being a realtor make so much more sense.
Right.
You were just trying to camouflage yourself to stay in the tribe.
Precisely. You are mimicking the accepted script of adulthood.
Yeah.
But his ultimate advice for handling this is brilliant because camouflage is exhausting.
Oh, for sure.
He realized you just have to own it and completely reframe the power dynamic.
Love that.
When you're at a party and someone asks, practice saying it bluntly. I'm retired, Bob. You want to go play golf tomorrow?
And when Bob inevitably stammers about having a huge quarterly review meeting and has to work, You just reply, oh, that's too bad.
Yes. You strip away the apologies.
Yeah.
You reframe the narrative from one of social weirdness to one of absolute freedom.
Right.
You force the conversation back onto their choices rather than defending your own.
Okay, so you master the cocktail party.
Yeah.
You survive the conversation with Bob.
Yeah.
And protect your identity.
Right.
But the party eventually ends.
It always does.
And you wake up the next morning in an empty house on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that is when a completely different psychological trap triggers, which is the sheer terror of unstructured time.
Oh, boy.
And that manifests as the entrepreneurial itch.
This is a deeply ingrained neurological habit for anyone who is driven enough to achieve early retirement.
Right, because he talks about his genuine surprise that his desire to make money didn't just magically turn off the day he hit his retirement number.
It never does.
It still hits him, especially during the winters when he is back in the U.S.
Yeah, because he's stuck inside.
Exactly. The weather's bad, he's inside, his mind wanders, and suddenly he's brainstorming new business ideas.
Of course.
He calls it the one more year syndrome.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. The urge to buy just one more rental property or, find just one more house to flip.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
we are talking about dopamine loops.
Okay.
When you are a high-achieving, career-driven person, your brain is wired to release dopamine when you hit a metric of success.
Like closing a deal.
Right. Closing a deal, finishing a spreadsheet, cashing a check.
Yeah.
So when that structure vanishes, the brain basically goes into withdrawal.
Wow.
It scrambles to recreate the conditions that used to deliver those neurochemical rewards.
It is exactly like phantom limb syndrome.
That's a perfect way to put it.
Right. But instead of a missing arm, your career has been amputated.
Exactly.
Your neural pathways just haven't caught up to your new reality.
They really haven't.
The nerves that fired every time you optimized a workflow are still firing into empty space, basically demanding a hit of productivity.
Yep.
Your brain still feels this phantom need to
Yeah.
monetize your existence. And he gives a fantastic warning about the danger of accidentally turning a fun retirement hobby into a stressful new job just to satisfy that phantom limb.
And his YouTube channel is the perfect example of this internal tension.
Oh, it is so telling.
Yeah.
So he has this YouTube channel, right? 20,000 subscribers.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And he actually asked an AI recently why the channel doesn't make any money.
Okay.
The AI analyzes his metrics and spits back that a channel with 20,000 subscribers should be pulling in $1,000 to $2,000 a month.
Right.
But he intentionally only makes about $200.
Wow.
Why? Because he actively refuses to treat it like a job.
That's amazing.
Right. He refuses to post consistently just to feed the algorithm's demand for content.
Which means he is consciously fighting that phantom limb.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows the dopamine hit of the extra $2,000 just isn't worth the anxiety of a publication schedule.
For sure.
He is deliberately choosing the joy of the hobby over the optimization of the income.
Which takes a lot of willpower.
Immense neurological discipline. But he also recognizes that just telling yourself don't work isn't enough to cure the anxiety of an open calendar.
Right.
You have to actually replace the structure.
Okay.
So he offers a highly practical solution. He says, if you were a super career-oriented person, treat retirement itself like your new career.
Yes. Because I schedule everything.
You literally block out your calendar.
Yeah.
He advises taking the time to explicitly plan your vacations, plan your meals for the week.
Right.
And he specifically mentions this to highlight how far you should take it, putting sex on the calendar if you have to.
Wait, really? Scheduling intimacy.
Yeah.
That sounds like the total opposite of freedom.
It sounds restrictive until you understand why it works.
Okay, explain that.
Structure provides psychological safety for a brain that spent 30 years being told exactly where to be at 9 in the morning every Monday.
Oh, I see.
When you face an endless void of time, decision fatigue sets in.
Right.
By scheduling your life, even the leisure and the intimacy, you regain a sense of predictable routine without having to sell your time to an employer.
Oh, that makes sense.
You are building the banks of the river so the water can flow without flooding the plains.
Okay, that completely clarifies it. You need the banks of the river.
Exactly.
So you've stopped monetizing your hobbies and you've created a schedule to give your brain a sense of safety.
Right.
But what actually goes into those calendar blocks? Like, how do you spend your days without losing your mind?
Right.
Well, reality number 4 is maybe the best part of this whole deep dive.
Oh, I agree.
Because it shows what happens when you finally heal that phantom limb. You survive by inventing totally new, just wonderfully bizarre ways to have fun.
And this is where we see the critical transition from the anxiety of early retirement to the actual self-actualization of it.
Yeah.
This is about learning how to play again.
Let's talk about bucket golf.
Yes, please.
Or, as he has to legally call it on his channel to avoid trademark issues, alpine golf.
The Alpine Golf story is a masterpiece of environmental design and cognitive rewiring.
It really is. It is the ultimate expression of retirement freedom.
Totally.
He literally built a 1-kilometer, 9-hole golf course down the side of his Spanish mountain.
That is dedication.
Right. He spent hours just using rocks to mark the tees, and he dug actual buckets into the dirt for the holes.
It's so good.
And my absolute favorite detail, he specifically designed the 9th hole to finish exactly at his house so he can immediately grab a cold beer from the fridge when he sinks a final putt.
Think about the cognitive dissonance that requires for a former high achiever.
Oh, yeah?
He spent a full day moving rocks for a fake golf course that yields zero economic return.
And the logistics are just hilarious.
Right.
Because the official bucket golf company doesn't deliver to his remote village in Spain.
Of course not.
So he had to improvise. He went on the discount site Temu and bought these big, clunky plastic golf clubs and oversized pickleballs.
Oh my gosh.
Which, he makes a point to mention, are incredibly difficult to squeeze into the back pocket of your jeans when you're trying to hike up a steep mountain terrain.
What's fascinating here is the pure, unadulterated embrace of play.
Yes.
Because as adults under capitalism, we are conditioned out of playing just for the sake of playing.
Oh, completely.
Everything has to have an ROI, right? A return on investment.
Exactly.
If you read a book, it should be to learn a skill.
Yeah.
If you exercise, it is to optimize your lifespan.
But the ROI of alpine golf is just pure joy.
Yeah.
It is totally pointless in the best possible way.
Absolutely.
And he doesn't stop there. He also has another hobby, this separate channel called Life Makes Music.
Oh, right.
He writes custom songs for people. And sure, he writes nice wedding songs for friends. But he also spends hours producing these high-quality tracks specifically designed to make fun of his buddies for being terrible at fishing.
That is amazing.
I just revel in the absurdity of it. It is the perfect example of what happens when you finally embrace the freedom you spent decades saving for.
It really proves that the ultimate luxury of early retirement isn't actually the money.
No.
The money is just the shovel. The ultimate luxury is the mental bandwidth.
Yes.
It is having the cognitive space to wake up on a Tuesday and decide to engineer a 1-kilometer fake golf course on a mountain.
Exactly.
And, you know, in the source material, there is this incredible cinematic moment.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, while he is talking about the vastness of his open days, you can actually hear these deep, resonant village bells ringing in the background.
Yeah.
He mentions the village is about 1 kilometer away.
That ambient detail paints such a vivid picture.
It really does.
You can almost feel the slow pace of time there.
It serves as this constant, peaceful, auditory reminder of the reality he's built for himself.
Yeah.
A reality entirely removed from the alarms, the traffic, and the demands for productivity.
Right.
But it is a reality that requires fierce, intentional maintenance.
It definitely takes real psychological work to protect that peace.
For sure.
So, to kind of recap this journey for you, if you want to retire early and actually enjoy the reality of it, you have to be prepared for the mental teardown.
Right.
You have to actively rebuild your social circle from scratch because those proximity friends of the office are just gone.
Yeah, they are.
You have to defend your identity and your tribal belonging against the bobs of the world who want to know what you do.
Exactly.
You have to heal your phantom limb and fiercely resist the urge to turn every fun hobby into a stressful side hustle.
Yep.
You have to give your brain the psychological safety it craves by scheduling your unstructured time.
Crucial step.
And ultimately, you have to give yourself the radical permission to invent something as wonderfully silly and economically pointless as alpine golf.
It really forces a profound reevaluation of how we measure a successful life.
It does.
And it brings up a fascinating contradiction to leave you with.
Okay, let's hear it.
We consider the loss of our 9-to-5 identity to be this modern psychological crisis, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you look back at human history, our hunter-gatherer ancestors only worked a few hours a day to forage and hunt.
Right.
The rest of their time was spent socializing, resting, and playing.
Wow.
So if our entire modern crisis of identity stems from losing a 40-hour work week,
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what those ancient humans anchored their self-worth to.
Man, that is a brilliant point. Maybe the ultimate goal of early retirement isn't just about escaping the office.
No.
Maybe it is about remembering how human beings actually lived before the concept of the work week was even invented.
Exactly.
Just something to think about before you order that peach cocktail.